Westeros!
And welcome to our Morning Throners podcast. I'm Nelson.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're the fucking Morning Throners.
And welcome back to another episode of your favorite Song of Ice and Fire podcast. We're the Morning Throners, Nelson and Jeff on deck, ready to talk episode 7 of the House of Dragon. And another goodie. They just keep rolling them now.
Yeah, pretty good. Again, I want to hear what you thought about it as somebody who's never read the book.
Yeah.
I will say there was one really big change in this episode from the books that I wasn't spoiled on it, but I was spoiled that there's like a really big change from the books in this episode. And you
were ready for it to happen, not right now type of thing?
In the books, Laenor dies there. Like there's no hint that he doesn't die.
Pretty cool. I mean,
yeah.
Is it in the book like burned face? Like they burned his face?
No, he's basically just like stabbed in a market.
Interesting.
By Carl. By the guy who did it, but it's like the question is like, oh, who's behind it? Was it Daemon? Was it somebody else?
But it's confirmed that Laenor died.
Yeah,
interesting.
Exactly.
Why do you think that they would keep him alive in this?
I don't know. I'm guessing that he's gonna be a character. Like I don't know. It's like, is that it? Is like that his story that he just like gets to live? Like him and Carl get to go and like into Essos and live forever.
And he pulls an egg and just shaves his head every day.
Yeah, I mean that's clear. That's what they were doing.
My question is, what happens to Sea Smoke? Like, does young Bela take over Sea Smoke now?
That's true. I forget in the books who, if anybody, bonds with Sea Smoke after Laenor dies. I haven't thought about that.
Sure. But yeah, no, good episode. I like that it all kind of happens in a day and a night. Which was pretty cool.
All Driftmark, yeah. It's all pretty contained.
Question about the wedding. Did that happen like in secret or the Daemon Rhaenyra wedding? Nobody knows about that?
I don't think it stays secret for very long, but it's something that they don't ask Viserys permission on. I don't think. Yeah. It's kind of how it goes. It's like ask for forgiveness instead of permission.
Sure. I mean, what is he going to say? No?
I mean, he kind of already did, right? When Daemon asked the first time.
Yeah. The characters, man, they're great.
And this one, they had like I feel like there was just a few scenes, but the scenes were long and they had like everybody in them.
Yeah.
Right. So it starts off in like, we're at the funeral. They're tying, like they got like the casket carved, like a woman that they're about to throw in the ocean. I kind of have a problem with this like ritual. This like funeral ritual. Same. Like it's after like 100 people, like you're just going to have a big pile of coffins there.
My thing was they were like off to sea, like, you would think like it would be sailing out to like float forever. Yeah. And it just sinks like 100, like 10 feet in front of them, but 100 feet down. Like that's not, she didn't really go out to sea. She kind of sank to sea, but I to each their own. I kind of like the Tully, like let it flow down the river, like put it out far enough to see that it could just like float away and maybe sink at some point. But
exactly, and I like how they're giving these guys like their own traditions, but I'm kind of confused too, because like shouldn't they have like we see at the end, and I don't know, maybe these two things go together. We see at the end that there's like a Valyrian marriage, like they have a special marriage ceremony. Like it's not like a normal Westerosi marriage where you're putting the cloak over the bride or whatever. They're like cutting each other all over the place and like having a blood dance. Yeah, like. So cool. That's like the real Targaryen like marriage ceremony. But we know that their funeral ceremony is like burning people, right? Yeah. So what the Valerians have a different funeral ceremony, but they're both from Valyria. So like some of that history is confusing. Like theoretically, they should all the same. They're from the same place.
Yeah, but different families. I mean, different families do different things.
Yeah, yes, I guess. Yeah, and we don't know enough about the background of them to know exactly. But yeah, that was like the one thing I was thinking. But while they're doing it, the guy who's giving the eulogy is kind of throwing shade at the kids already.
Absolutely.
Like, we have pure blood.
And Damon's just giggling at it.
And I think where this is I think that guy is, and again, they've changed who this guy is. I think he's a brother or something, but I think he's an uncle. In the books, he's an uncle. In the show, he's a brother, vice versa. He's Corlys I'm talking about.
He's Corlys' brother, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think he might be an uncle in the books, but either way, he's a brother in the show.
Yeah.
I don't know. Why does this guy not like those kids? Like, why is he throwing shade on these kids?
The same way everybody else does, because it's not...
But he's on their side. Like, the Valerians are kind of on their side.
Yeah, but so is Rhaenys, and she's not happy. Rhaenys is about to throw those boys aside as well.
That's true. She doesn't want them inheriting Driftmark. Yeah. She wants that to go to Daemon.
That's a big fucking slight too.
Yeah, exactly. Anything else at the funeral? They they're panning, they're showing everybody's faces, you're getting a lot of reaction. Daemon like starts laughing at one point.
Damon's giggle. I mean, it comes right at the part of like our blood is thick. I'm pretty sure. Which maybe he's laughing. Why would he laugh? Because he knows the truth too, and he just thinks it's funny, and he just doesn't give a fuck. Or
I don't think he's gonna be making fun of Rhaenyra's kids though. Like I think if he'd be like, I don't know. I was confused. I was kind of confused by that.
I'm surprised nobody else really. I mean, Rhaenys kind of hints at it a bit and a little bit, like Damon's part of her death.
Damon's part of her death. Oh, Laena, not bringing her back.
Not bringing her back, or like saying that, I don't know, he was going to like cut her open for the baby, or that there just wasn't more speculation or rumor about how she died. Like I guess they just kind of accepted that she wanted her fate. I mean, the only person that I think really witnessed it was Damon. So the account of it could be whatever. But no, I mean, the funeral was what it was. Otto Hightower's back in action.
Yep, they show that real quick.
I don't know if I expected him to be the Hand again. Like, he didn't have anybody else that he had friends. Like, he didn't have any other friends that he could have promoted.
Well, they did kind of talk about that in the last episode with the whole, like, when Larry's burned up Lionel and Harrenhal. The whole point of that was because, like, he met with Alicent earlier.
And she wanted her dad.
She's like, yeah. Like, and he's like, well, he wouldn't be partial, like, impartial either. And she's like, yeah, but he'd be biased towards me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then later, once Larry's does that, he's like, look, now you have your wish. Like, who wouldn't want your wish to come true? Now you can call your dad.
Right. But it's not really his choice or her choice at the end of the day. Like,
you're right.
Why does his opinion on Otto change now? Because Lionel died. Like, nothing changed for Otto. He's still got the same bias and whatnot.
It has been 10 years though, so but I get that. Yeah, for us it's been 2 episodes, but in timeline it's been 10 years.
I mean, I'm sure they were pretty close friends, and as we see with Viserys, if he misses you enough, he'll just keep letting you back.
Yeah, like Viserys, we know Viserys is kind of a pushover on most things except for
Daemon coming back every other episode to King's Landing and getting invited back here too again. Yeah.
So I've been fortunate enough to not have gone to a funeral recently. They have this like cocktail hour thing. Like
it's like the wake, I think they call it, or usually
it's so like dead. You know what I mean? It just seems like so weird. Because like no one's talking at this one. Like everyone just like sitting
nobody
there.
Likes each other. That's the thing.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, who are you supposed to?
That's kind of what I was wondering.
Who's talking to who? Nobody.
It's supposed to be like a celebration of life, right? Not like a sad cocktail hour.
I mean, it's definitely always a sad deal, but I guess, I don't know how their culture sees it. Like, people see it as like, all right, new life in heaven. I don't know if the Valerian, I mean, they were talking about like, all right, she's off to sea now to be protected and whatnot. Like, if you believe that she's living a second life, then you could say that but I'm just saying, like, I mean, it's always a morbid deal, but
yeah, I'm just saying it was kind of like this it was a long scene where they like cutting around to different things here, and all of them were awkward. Like, it starts off with Rhaenyra going up right to Jace and being like,
go talk to your cousins.
They're sad, and he's like, I'm sad too. My dad died just like their mom died.
Yeah.
And she's like, shut up, you can't say that. Like, that's not what he's not your dad.
Well, he didn't say his dad. He just said like somebody close to him. Like, even if, because he's like, he added Sir Lionel in it too. I get it. It's obviously his dad. Everybody knows it's his dad. No one's kind of really playing around it. But he said Lord Strong and blah, blah, blah. Like,
yeah.
You could obviously see that in the 10 years or so that Harwin was spending a lot of time with him. Like, they were probably really tight with him.
But I think what he's like, she says like they just lost a parent, like they're in mourning, and he's like, we have the same reason to be in. He says something like that, like we have the same reason to be in mourning.
I gotcha. She shuts him up pretty quick. It was interesting to see how the two kids' relationships would be, like Jacaerys and the Daemon's kids, Baela and Layla?
Baela and Rhaena.
Okay. Which it's cool then when like the fight happens that they're like on each other's side type of deal. And I think that's even cooler. I want to see like the kids grow up and fight rather than, I don't even care about Rhaenyra and Alicent anymore. Like, I want the Jacaerys versus Aegon and just like a strapped up deal.
It's cool too because they're making Aegon out to be like unlikable, but not really a bad guy. Like, he's just like getting drunk, doesn't give a fuck about stuff. Like, like he's not a Joffrey, like where he's like doing bad stuff for the sake of doing bad stuff.
Yeah, he's just like a 14-year-old prince that like doesn't care because he's not in line yet, and he's just having fun. And
so at this like wake thing, they cut to these guys, to the green children. But not only Aegon and Aemon, but they also cut to the girl again, and she's got this spider.
She's saying some shit again. She's a green seer. She's more than just being Allison's. She's fucking weird.
So you say this why? Because you called something in the last episode.
Because she called she said you'd have to lose an eye.
To close an eye to get a dragon.
I was waiting for it. I thought the dragon was gonna like kick him or something and he was gonna lose an eye.
That was a badass scene, but we'll wait to get there. What she's saying here that I caught was dragon's flesh weaving dragon's thread. Yeah. But I don't know what that means. So I knew what the last one meant, like right off the bat, but I don't know what this one means, even as like somebody who's read the books.
What was and then the next line is something like
I'm not 100% sure.
It's something about it was something green. It was something she said something about green.
Dragons of flesh, weaving dragons of thread. Hand turns a loom, spool of green.
Yeah. So, I mean, it had to be something with, like...
You're right. Green, like, as in them.
And the hand. It mentions the hand. So, what's Otto spinning?
That's a good call. Yeah.
Because, he said later on, like, we're going to win this thing.
And he was saying, like, yeah, it's a good thing we got the dragon. Like, he's all about getting dragons.
Yeah. The thing I think the first part means is we were told that we were going to learn kind of how Targaryens hatch dragons, right?
I don't know if we thought that. A lot of fans speculated that. I don't know if that was ever given to us. So far, we haven't seen that at all, that I can tell, right? We haven't really seen that at all.
I mean, the other thing, dragons, what was it? Spinning thread of dragons or?
Dragons of flesh, weaving dragons of thread.
I mean, at the end, Rhaenyra and Daemon are threaded together with a cloth that they bleed on. 2 dragons of flesh bleeding are wrapped in a cloth.
Yeah. Weird. Cool. I like it. But then how does that relate to the hand and the greens? That's on the opposite side.
I mean, just that he's spinning shit up, I guess. He's in the loom making some fucking, I don't know.
It's cool. I like it. I like it. But you're right.
Well, what else did she say other than
that's it? I think she just repeats that over and over.
What about last week when she said he had to lose an eye?
She's
what else
counting
did she say
the rings on the centipede and saying like, oh, there's 2 legs on every one except for the last string has no legs. And the only thing that I've seen people talk about that is thinking it's Bran. Like she's somehow talking about all the kings. There's been all the kings in different order and they all have 2 legs except the last one has no legs. And then he's like the last king. But I don't know if that's true or not. That's like the only thing that I've seen.
That's super far in advance.
And like she's saying there's like 60 rings and there haven't been 60 kings. So it doesn't really match for anything except for Bran doesn't have legs. And he does have legs. You just can't use them.
Yeah, fuck Bran. I don't want to think about Bran right now. We learned that Aegon's about to marry this sister too.
Yes, that's true. They're betrothed.
That's interesting because Rhaenyra offered her son very recently.
Yes. Yeah, and that got turned down. So it seems like they're trying to occupy kids maybe so that they can't get offered up again. But also, Aemon says it's like it's good to keep the bloodlines pure. We know that's a thing they do.
Aemon was all about it. He was like, "I'll do it."
Seems like he's dedicated to like he's a family guy.
He's a second son. He wants to make his name.
That's also true. Yeah, he's got something to prove.
Aegon, so Aegon's just drunk. He says something kind of weird when she's playing with the spider, like, "Oh, I like creatures with long legs too." Is that a woman reference?
Like,
I'm about to go.
He's like a womanizer.
I like women with like girls with long legs.
I think that's why he doesn't want to get married to her is because he's just like he likes like we see him like giving eyes to chicks when he's in the training yard, right? Like he's jerking off out the window. Clearly, this dude's going through puberty, just trying to get his rocks off.
Trying to get something going. He passes out drunk. So like it's oddly enough, like the parents start sending them to bed.
There's again, I don't know if there's anything important talking there. What I have in my notes is Jace goes over and talks to Baela and Rhaena.
Yeah, nothing really happens. They like hold hands.
Corlys tells Luke that he's going to be the Lord of Driftmark one day.
He doesn't want it because he doesn't want people to die.
Yeah, he's like, that means people are dying. I don't want that.
Which is different. Like it kind of, you almost thought like he was going to say he didn't want it because his dad's not his dad, but it's a completely different reason.
And we kind of found out later that Luke doesn't seem to even know that. Right? Aemon calls him out on it, and he's like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah, I mean that's true. He's a young kid. He probably is like in the Santa Claus phase of it.
Yeah, and the last thing I have is just Aegon's getting absolutely hammered.
Yeah.
Laenor's down in the water, and Corlys sends Carl to go get him. I don't get why Corlys was so mad.
Why does he call him his patron?
he's calling out his own son for being gay in front of everyone. I don't get why he's so mad here. Like, like Laenor is upset that his sister died. Like, let the dude stand in the water if he wants to. Yeah, like maybe not in front of everybody, like do it around back, but I don't know.
I mean, I don't know why he was so butthurt about it. But and then I think Rhaenyra's been given Daemon eyes as she's kind of walking through, and then Viserys walks over, hobbles over, and just again invites him back.
And Daemon seems to be kind of like, I think it's kind of like it was in that episode where he fight the crab feeder. He's like, I don't want handouts. I don't want your help. I can do it myself type thing. Like almost like you said, second son syndrome, but I need to prove myself. Because Viserys says like, come back. Like you can have everything. Your girls can have a place of court. You can be on the council. And he's like, I don't need that. Like, I don't want that.
Well, he's basically, like he said, like, Pentos is my home. Like, that's just a goofy thing to say.
Yeah, like, why do you want to be in
Pentos? Why do you care about Pentos? Like, what the fuck were you doing with those books? I wonder now, like, with him and Rhaenyra together, like, they're going to be in Dragonstone. Is he just going to be, like, reading? Like, are we going to get the secret of what he's trying to find in the books type of deal?
I hope so. Because none of that stuff's, like, in the books. And yeah, and then when Daemon just, like, leaves that conversation, he passes Otto on the way. And he says something like, a leech will just keep sucking. It doesn't get too fat or something like that.
Yeah. No matter how fat it gets, it always looks for its next meal. Just Otto, just being Otto. Otto's an Ottoer.
And then Viserys is like trying to go, maybe this is where they start sending people to bed. Viserys starts to go to bed and he calls Alicent Emma.
Yeah, what is that? He just old? Is he just getting forgetful?
It's got to be like a dementia type thing, right? Or because he doesn't even seem to notice that he did it.
No, he doesn't even like say sorry. He just walks by.
Yeah, because then Harold's like, should I be guarding Alicent or something like that? And he's like, no. And then he's like,
maybe he just doesn't give a fuck because he thinks he's still married to Emma.
And he leaves it up to Kristen to guard her, right?
Yeah. Kristen's weird. I don't like Kristen anymore, like at all.
I'm starting to not like Kristen. I mean, again, I hated him in the books, and you're starting to see why. This is kind of how he's portrayed in the books the whole time.
He had like one kind of redeeming quality where he wasn't gonna stab the kid's eye out. Like I think Kristen in the last episode, or like maybe 10 years ago, would have been like, "Fuck this kid! Like I'm taking his eye." Yeah. But I don't really care for him. He giggles too at some point in this whole deal. I think he giggles at the like our blood is thick thing too, or like he smiles and Harold I think looks over and he's like, this dude's fucked. Yeah. Like this guy's picking sides.
It's weird because I don't hate Alicent. I get where she's coming from 100%, but I don't like Cole, even though they're on the same side and like working to the same ends. I guess I see where Alicent's coming from, but I don't like Cole for some reason. I feel like he could have handled his deal better.
I mean, he's just butthurt. I like Alicent. Alicent's crazy as shit, but I don't want to be her friend. She seems a little crazy, but she's cool to. You never know what's going to happen next with her. Yep.
So then they're cleaning up of the party. Otto finds drunk Aemon, pulls him up.
No, that was Aegon.
Aegon, yep, not Aemon.
Yeah,
yep.
And then Aemon, I knew he was. I mean, he's just staring at the dragons. Like I knew he was going to make a play.
Yeah.
And I think I might have said something in last week's pod, like what happens to Vhagar? Does the young girl?
Yeah, I think you're
right. I don't
know
if I said it on air or not. I think maybe me and you just had that conversation, but what was going to happen with Vhagar? And hey, the kid shot a shot. Good for him.
And you're right. I don't think that's ever hinted at that it's gonna go to the girl in the books, but it's hinted at here. Like she is mad. Like what the fuck? You took my dragon.
Well, she at least thought it was gonna be hers. Yeah. I mean, same deal. She's dragonless, and there's a dragon.
Yeah.
She didn't shoot her shot.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, too, Aemon had to because he was about to leave. Like he's about to go back to King's Landing.
I mean, Vhagar didn't have to stay there, right? Like Vhagar could have went wherever he wanted.
True. That's true.
But sure, I mean, there's a dragon there. You're not going to stay there forever. Like, this is your opportunity type of deal.
Yep. So the next scene is Corlys and Rhaenys in, like, talking, and Rhaenys is not happy. She's not happy with the bastards are going to get their shit.
She's just kind of tired of it all. Like, she's just kind of tired of playing the game. She just wants to stop, it seems like, and keep her family safe. I mean, she even mentioned this when they were going to marry Laenor to Rhaenyra. She was like, this is stupid. Like, we're putting our family in danger. Like, let's just live our lives and be fine. And I feel like that's what she wants.
And Corlys is trying to say, oh, we're doing this because you deserve what you were like robbed of at the Great Council. And she's like, don't do that.
She calls him out. This is for you.
She's like, don't use my name as an excuse for you're putting us all at risk. Like, you're doing this because you want to do this because you're ambitious and you're obsessed with your legacy. And then he has the quote, like, what's the point in life if it's not your legacy? And she's like, I don't give a fuck about my legacy like that. There's way more important stuff, like family is basically what she's saying.
Right. I thought it was cool. She basically like calls out the Jacaerys and Lucerys. Where was the baby? We didn't see the baby.
Yeah, he wasn't. Maybe that he didn't travel to Driftmark.
Yeah, seems stupid to not. I mean, I'm sure they had him protected, but to not have it. But when she's calling him out, and Corlys is like, "Well, history doesn't remember blood. History remembers names." Like, and he's pretty right. Like, at some point, people are gonna not give a shit. Like, as long as he has whatever name he has, that's what.
So this is weird though. Like, right. In one of the earlier episodes, Lionel suggests that Laenor marry Rhaenyra, right? Remember this? Viserys is pissed. Everyone's talking about who Rhaenyra is going to marry. And he's like, oh, I bet you're going to suggest Harwin. And he's like, no, I think she should marry Laenor. It makes a ton of sense.
Well, yeah, he talks about like binding the families and the strength and the Valyrian blood. But
like in hindsight, right, seeing what happens, where her children who are going to inherit the throne end up being Strongs, like by blood, not by name, but by blood. I'm thinking maybe back in that episode, Lionel is trying to play the game a little bit. He's like, oh, if Rhaenyra marries Laenor, if I can keep my son close, then that he can be popping out bastards. And again, it's a stretch. There's really no evidence for it.
I think just from what we've seen from Lionel, you're stretching pretty hard, but
I think that's more what matters more, name or blood. To me, I think blood would matter more. You know what I mean? Like, I don't give a fuck if this kid has my name if it's not related to me at all.
But here's my whole argument again. It didn't matter in Game of Thrones with Joffrey. You can't prove blood. You're never going to be able to prove it. Like, are you really going to sit on the throne of they have different colored hair?
But what I'm saying is,
how can you prove that they're not?
It's not about proof. What I'm saying, I guess it's like a hypothetical
question. It is.
Question.
It's absolutely about proof because that's why name means more because they have the name. And you can prove that they had the name, but you can't prove that they have blood.
Well, maybe I'm asking a hypothetical question then. Like, I think it's more like if I could choose like having a kid on the throne that has my last name but none of my blood, or having my blood but a different last name, I'd choose blood every time. Like, I'd have a son on the throne rather than just like all of a sudden they just get like, you know what I mean? Like what's the queen of like who's in charge of England now that the queen's dead? Like if they could just take my last name instead.
Her oldest kid.
I wouldn't give a fuck. Like, who cares? Like, I still don't have any control over England. Sure, it's got my name on it now, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's not. I mean, yeah, I guess.
Or if they could take my son and put them in charge, I'd be like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do that one instead. You know what I mean?
No, I don't. You're saying the same exact thing.
No, because then my son rules all of England instead of just like, oh, my name is slapped on the front of it.
But they're saying that it's their son, though. They're claiming him to be their son. They're not claiming him to be a fake son. That's the whole point of him having the name, is that they're saying this is ours.
I'm just surprised that Corlys is okay with it, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, yeah, it's
his name. That's the whole thing. It's his name. So he is saying that my grandson will be king. He doesn't give a shit that it's not actually his blood. He's saying it's got our name. Like, my son is his father in the books. That's all I care about. That's all he cares about.
You're 100% right. That's what he's saying. I'm just saying I don't think I'd feel the same way because, like, in my mind, my line is ending, right? My line is ending
because they have, they have the name. I don't like it's the bloodline, sure, but no one's gonna know. I guess.
But literally, Corlys doesn't have any. I mean, he does because of Laena's children, but without Laena's children, he would not have any actual descendants anymore.
Sure,
which is like, I don't know. I feel like not as good. Like, that's less important.
Sure, I mean. You would think Laenor actually cares about that too. I mean, it sounds like they gave it the old college try, but
yeah.
At the end of the day, it is what it is. I think Corlys just accepts it, and he's like, "Well, fuck it. It's the name that matters." And
again, that was a line that I think I definitely heard in a trailer. I think before the show started, like it remembers names, and it was Corlys saying it, and I like it kind of bugged me in the trailer. I'm like, if he's talking about like being okay with like knowing that the grandchildren aren't his and like just being okay with it, that kind of bugs me because it doesn't make sense to me. Like, how are you okay with like you would want your blood on the throne, but I don't know. Maybe it's just,
I mean, he's done everything to this point to get
his name,
his family. I mean, if you just think about it as a family, Like his family's right there now.
Well, and you're right. They're clearly showing that this is important to Corlys because earlier, right, when he comes to set up the marriage the first time, he's like, well, what about the name? Like, is it going to be Valerian when he rules? And
I mean, let's take this a step further. I bet Jacaerys and one of the twins weds and Lucerys and one of the twins. Like, I don't know. I think they're just going to keep going.
That I feel like that made sense before this episode, but now that Rhaenyra and Daemon are wed, like you're gonna wed your
Doesn't
children
matter.
too. It's all kind of weird.
Aegon and his sister are about to get married, and they're not. I mean, they're not actually sisters. So
yeah, but like mom and dad are married, and now we're married. I'm married to you, and your dad's married to my mom.
This happens in like real life though. Like
you're right,
boyfriend and girlfriends, like parents meet each other, and then they're like steps.
Yeah, that's technically not even bad. Like I guess compared to like incest and
sure
the age stuff that's just kind of slightly weird. Technically nothing illegal though.
So what happens next? Do they start
Daemon
walking
and
down
Rhaenyra
the beach?
On the beach, yeah.
Interesting. Someone's got to be watching here. Larys is there. Let's not forget the Larys part of this. Like he's there. Someone's spying on them right now.
I think Christian Cole even says like, "Yo, this dude's like staring at you weird," and
he does
like, during the earlier part. Yeah,
at the cocktail. That was my whole thought. Was I knew Aemon was going to be out and about on the beach. I didn't know if he was going to see them while on his dragon hunt. Yeah. I like that they kept it that he was just on his dragon hunt and he didn't really. I mean, what does it matter now? Like they're married. Yeah, it's not going to matter.
That's true. But yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like when they were talking to each other, I was like, beach is a great spot to like talk and not be heard because it's so windy. Like you can't hear a conversation on the beach more than 5 feet away.
Oh, and the wind or the waves crashing too.
I'm like,
Absolutely.
This is a great spot to hide from Larry's. But then as soon as they start kissing, I'm like, this is a bad idea. Anybody can see you. Like it's a great idea to have a conversation. It's a horrible idea to start making out with your uncle.
And then they just found a tent on the beach to get the deed done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it just kind of shows that Rhaenyra actually wanted him back in the.
She calls him out. She's like, you left me. Yeah. She's like, you fucking left me.
In the feast, right? Like I actually wanted you to take me to Dragonstone. Like, what the fuck were you doing?
Is that what you thought she meant? I thought she meant back like in the alleyways. Like, I don't think that he had a chance to leave her then because that fight broke out and Kristen killed what's his face.
I think that's what she meant. I don't think she meant take my virginity or to have sex with me. I think she was like, take me. We were meant to be together. You should have taken me to be your wife. She basically says it at the end again. Well, we get it repeated.
What kind of backs up what you're saying is she's like, look at what my life became because you didn't. Right. But he says you're a child.
You were a child.
Which makes me think he's talking about the sex stuff. But then she says, look at what my life became, which makes me think that you're right. Like, you could have swept me off my feet and made my life way better. And now here I am, the middle of this fucking shit show, half with these bastard children. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like, you could have just fixed all this if you just took me away. I don't know. Maybe you're right.
That's how I took it. I don't even think she cared much about the alleyway anymore.
Another little thing in this conversation, though, is Daemon.
Hey, how about our boy Daemon got it up, too?
Yes, true. I mean, he apparently fixed that over the 10 years because he had 2 girls.
I mean, maybe they're not his either. Who says that they're his?
That's true. They have. I mean, yeah, they have. I was gonna say they have silver hair.
They look like Valerians. They don't look like the mom had silver hair.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Their mom had silver hair. One thing though, Daemon blames Alicent for Harwin's death and Lionel's death. The fire. She blames him for the fire.
I mean, it makes sense. The whole paper trail. Like you killed the hand so that your dad could be back in the hand seat.
It's the thing like who has the most to gain from it. Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense for them to per se kill Harwin because that's kind of like
you kind of want him walking around.
You want him walking around as Jacaerys gets older and older and be like, holy shit, like they look just alike.
Yeah.
And now there's no. That's kind of what I thought of. What now? Harwin's dead. Jacaerys and Lucerys. I mean, sure, they're never going to look like his dad, but at least they don't have that. They don't have the actual dad walking around right in front of them. It's not like Joffrey's walking with Jaime every day. And you're like, holy shit, they look just alike.
Yeah, exactly.
So I kind of thought that favored Rhaenyra a little bit. And then I won't skip to the end, but I was completely shocked by the ending. I thought the ending was great.
Yeah. Yeah, when she's like, I kind of want to go back because I was so... And it's done this twice now. I think maybe not the last episode, but like they've ended the episode where they have a monologue Right, like Damon and Rhaenyra are talking at the end of the episode over top of these intercut scenes of Damon talking to Cor and the fight happening and like Damon snapping somebody's neck, and I'm totally not listening to what the conversation is at all because I'm watching what's happening. Like she's saying something about
There's
like
a lot going
she's
on,
saying something about like being a tyrant and like I don't want to be a tyrant. So like, are they talking about not actually killing Laenor in that conversation? The other time they did it was when Larry's is talking about how you love stays the hand for the children, and it's like happening as they're burning Harwin alive. And it's like, well, I didn't hear half of Larry's monologue because you're showing me other shit at the same time.
Because someone's burning the death right in front of me. The tyrant things. We'll get to that. Let's just save it. Aemon takes the dragon ride.
Yeah, awesome.
Pretty dope. So there was a couple things I was waiting for because I remember the first time we saw them riding the dragon, I was like, oh shit, they have saddles.
Yeah.
And you were like, yeah, that'll be important later on. And I was curious if like he was going to get caught in the saddle or he was going to poke his eye on the saddle.
So the saddles haven't been 100% accurate yet. Like, I think part of the point of the saddle is like, the way I always looked at it was kind of like you carabiner yourself onto it. Like there's a part here where he's like holding on to a rope and like if he lets go, he's gone. The way I always took the saddles was like, it wasn't really possible for that to happen because you're literally like, almost like you have like a mountain climber's harness attaching you to the dragon in some way. So like you can let go with your hands and that's kind of how I always saw it in the books. But again, it's never really super clear.
You know what's crazy about them? Like,
but they seem more secure in the books for sure.
He's like barely holding on, but we've seen like Dany strap like 8 people on the back of Drogon and they're holding on like perfectly fine. That's Vhagar's a cool ass dragon, big as shit. Looks old.
I was grinning ear to ear the whole dragon like fly scene, and I feel like it was a pretty long scene. And they've done this before, where like Dany and Jon are flying.
Yeah,
and I feel like this one had way more like it was important. Like he just claimed this huge dragon for the first time. Like Jon riding for the first time is pretty cool too.
I was curious if Vhagar was testing him a little bit. Like, all right, like can you hold on? Can you hold on right now? Like I'm about to go up and we're about to go down. Like, let's see what you're made of. And if you can hold on, like, fine, you can ride me type deal.
I like it too how it wasn't just like he snuck up and climbed up on and then was like, go. And then like,
that
like had a little bit of bucking Bronco-ish action. And then like they were good. I liked how like Vhagar was like, I'm going to burn your ass. And he's like, no, stop.
Yeah.
Like that. It shows that he had some balls. Right?
I thought that was cool too. And I thought I was waiting for the dragon to cut him a little bit. I didn't think the fight was going to be why he lost an eye. I thought he was going to lose the eye in the midst of the flight.
Oh, gotcha. Because you had been spoiled like within the past week.
I saw the picture of older Aemon with an eye patch.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for like the birds, like when they're flying, birds kind of fly in his face. Like I was like, oh shit, he's just going to take a bird to the eye. But at least he has a dragon. But that didn't happen. So, and then you see the Valerian girl. Oh, I guess they're not Daemon's girls, and they're like, "Oh shit, he just stole our dragon." I like that they say stole it too. Like, I'm sure that's not how you don't steal the dragons. You claim it. Like you bond with it. I'm sure there was no theft. There's no claims, right? There's no pink slips. Like the girls didn't own the pink slip of Vhagar, right?
The one thing that's interesting too, and kind of like to your point, is like, how is he going to lose an eye? There was a second where I was like, wait, how is he going to lose his eye now? Because what happens in the books is Joffrey, the little baby, is there again because the ages are kind of different. He is like literally 2 or 3, but he has a hatchling because he had a dragon egg that hatched. Like all the
oh shit,
all the black children. That's where their dragons came from. They're all cradle eggs. Like Jace's and Luke's too that we see in the last episode. Mm-hmm. But he had like snuck down to wherever they keep the dragons at Driftmark to like see his baby dragon. And Aemon had snuck out early because he knew his parents wouldn't let him try and claim Vhagar. So he wakes up early and tries to like sneak out. But they like kind of run into each other. And Joffrey's like, hey, you can't do that. And Aemon pushes him into a pile of dragon poop. And I was kind of waiting to see. I wanted to see little Joffrey get pushed into a pile of dragon poop.
Do dragons poop?
Apparently. And then he claims Vhagar, and then like basically he rides him for a little while, and by the time he lands, Joffrey has gone to get his brothers. The twins aren't there at all. That's kind of how the fight. So when he's just like going to the dunes, I'm like, wait a minute, how is anyone going to find out about this? But I mean, it just makes sense. You see a huge dragon flying through the sky.
Yeah, I mean they were like screeching too. Did Aemon beat the shit out of those 3 kids then? Like, did he?
He's way older than them, and like literally like 8 years old. Like it's like the oldest one. I think it's like in the books it's really like 7, 5, and 2 are the blacks, and he's like 13.
So Jacaerys is pretty young.
And Aemon's like 13, so he's like double the age of the oldest
like
one.
My older cousin just beating the shit out of me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's like 3-on-1, and Aemon's winning, even though it's a 3-on-1. And until
you gotta fight, you do gotta fight dirty.
Yeah,
when you're in those, like I like the sand grab. I think Luke threw some sand. Like you got no shot. You better start fighting dirty. You're gonna get your ass kicked. Yep. And he does get his nose broke. Been there before. Pretty crazy that he just straight up smacks the shit out of one of the girls.
Yeah, just punches the fuck out of her.
Cold clocks her.
One of them hits him though too. I was like, yes,
true.
Oh, I was like, can't hit a girl, but. I'll say like sometimes like reading like kind of spoils me because like I know that Luke was the one that cuts out his eye, not Jace. So Jace pulls the knife, and I'm like, wait a minute, something's gonna happen. These knives gonna change hands. You know what I mean? Like, so when Jace pulls the knife, does it change
hands? I thought Jace.
Well, Luke's the one that cuts his eye. I'm pretty sure like it's not that of his hands. Then Luke picks it up at like Jace does the.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it changes hands. But again, like that's just like a little thing. But I'm like,
they look too similar.
But yeah, that was the whole scene was awesome. I was just grinning ear to ear the whole dragon ride.
I was like, damn, like this is gonna be the catalyst. I knew this was gonna be the catalyst of like shit really popping off.
Yeah,
the whole next scene. I mean, you could cut the tension with a fucking knife.
So good. It was like the wedding scene, the first wedding scene, where we're just like so tense the whole time. Yeah.
I just waiting for like, and it's like just all the craziness about it. Like, and Daemon just kind of being a fly on the wall. I think it's the craziest part. Like he just had sex with Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
And now he's just like a fly on the wall. Like he's kind of got no parts in it. Although his daughters just took punches to the face.
That's
and like
true.
Are in the midst of it. He was just kind of chilling.
He does step in at the very end to stop Kristen because Kristen kind of springs into action. And he's like, wait a minute, you're not actually trying to go cut out this eye, are you? Like, let's hold back for a second.
Yeah. That's when Alicent comes with a dagger.
Yeah. At that time, Kristen starts coming too.
Yeah.
And Daemon stops in. He's like, yeah.
How do we want to take down this? This meeting, this fucking scene is basically the whole episode.
Yeah. I mean, there's a cool reveal of the eye that he... I mean, we kind of see it when he gets cut, but now we're like, okay, yeah, this thing's gone. Alicent's like, is he gonna be okay? And then Maester's like,
she wants an eye for an eye.
He's like, he's gonna have a scar, but he's lost his eye. And Alicent's like, no, what? And I'm like, Alicent, look at him, dude. Like the eye's gone. Like, what do you mean? Like, you think it's gonna grow back?
There's
How are you
nothing
surprised
there.
by this?
They just stitched it together.
Yeah.
If you're just gonna undo the stitches and the eye's gonna be under there, like fine. Yeah,
dude looks almost as bad as Tyrion after the Blackwater. Come on.
But man, just craziness ensues, and it's weird. Like, oh, Rhaenyra, sorry, I was walking on the beach. Oh, Daemon, you look like you were walking on the beach too.
They both have sex hair.
Where's the dad at? Like, they can't even find Laenor. Like, what a joke this family is. They didn't even hear the news.
And as soon as she comes in, Jace whispers to her, like, that he called us bastards. We didn't cover that, but, like, there's a part in the fight where Aemon has Luke, and he's like, you're it's like, says something about Harwin. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. Power move by Rhaenyra calling it out. Like, this is treason. They're knowing that Viserys was going to side with her, and it would have been like, all right, like, Aemon, I was like gonna say like whoever, I was waiting for Rhaenyra to be like, this is treason, like whoever's spreading this rumor needs to get their heads cut off. See if that would have like sprung it a little bit further. Again,
I feel like it's really interesting on how they're playing this because Rhaenyra's in the wrong, right? Alicent's right.
Sure, but you can't prove it. That's the whole thing. This is
literally, but like, as viewers, we know that technically Rhaenyra's in the wrong. So how do they make us like her? Is they make Alicent be way more aggressive. Like in this confrontation, Rhaenyra kind of plays.
Are you supposed to like Rhaenyra right now? I don't know if you're supposed to like Rhaenyra right now.
I don't think you're supposed to hate her though. It's supposed to be like a toss up.
I don't hate either of them. I think they're both crazy.
I think that's what they're doing. But if they have like Rhaenyra come in here and be like, yeah, fuck yeah, your son got his eye taken out. Good, he deserved it. Like, and like talking shit. Like, she's a very like, I'm answering your questions when you ask me, but I'm not like pushing the point in this meeting. Alicent's pushing the point, being aggressive. Rhaenyra's like, hey, he lost an eye. He got what was coming to him because he said treason. Like, he's lucky it's not his head. Period. Right. And then she like shuts the fuck up. Alicent pops off.
Pretty crazy by Viserys. Like, making Aemon tell the truth of it now. And then when he says Aegon, he doesn't do the same to Aegon. Like Aegon kind of has an answer like, we all know. And then he just like, all right, let's go to bed. Like basically like, all right, fine. We all know, like, let's go to bed. Enough of this bullshit. Like,
well, I thought that scene was awesome because that was something straight out of the books where when pushed and Viserys says, Aemon, where the fuck did you hear this? He says Aegon, and Aegon says, everyone knows, look at him. That's straight out of the books. But in this scene, when Viserys is asking Aemon, like, where'd you hear that? He looks at Alicent. With his one good eye, he's straight at Alicent. Yeah. And Viserys even's like...
And Alicent looks scared as shit. Alicent's like, holy shit, he's about to name drop me right now.
Yeah.
Pretty fucked up. He name drops his brother.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't think it better.
I mean, is that better? Was that better for the family? Like, what if he would have said Alicent, hell would have broke loose. Mm-hmm. Like, they would have been at war. Blades might have been drawn right there.
Yeah.
So maybe Aemon's smarter than we know for saying Aegon. Like, what were they going to do to Aegon type of deal?
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's still a kid.
You could say he's like, all right, it was just kids, bullying each other type thing.
Exactly.
One thing about the bullying, how about when Aemon does come off the dragon, just like big dick swinging, he's like, oh, this was your dragon? Like, maybe my brother can find a pig for you with wings.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
Well, dude, he's saying not. Yeah, you're right on the context, but he's implying Jace. I think. Well, it's like, what your cousins talking about Jace can get a pig for you because they're part of the ones that pulled that on him. It wasn't just
right. I thought he said his brother, but
I think he's like your cousins, implying Jace. I'm not sure. Either way, he's also just like straight up like, I'm gonna feed you to Vhagar. Like, he's mine now. Like, okay, hold your horses. You've had this dragon for 10 minutes, so you can't.
Yeah. Do you really think?
Is he gonna come up in here and start eating people for you? I don't know.
All right. So Viserys is like, all right, let's go. Alicent.
So wait, you're saying when Alicent commands Christian Cole to cut out the eye,
he says no. He says he doesn't do it. He doesn't do it. But I was kind of confused. I didn't catch what was happening there. She's like, "You're my sworn shield. Like, you're sworn to me." Right.
And then like nothing happened.
So she claims like eye for an eye, and Viserys is like, "You're crazy," and she's like, "Kristen." I think she just says it right. She just said, "Kristen, go get me that eye," and Viserys is like, "No." She's like, "You're sworn to me.
Bring me the eye of Lucerys Village."
And then I don't know what Kristen says, but he's like, "Your Grace, I'm not." He doesn't say, "Your Grace, I'm not doing this," but he basically says like, "Your Grace, this is wrong," type of thing.
He says, "As your protector, my queen," but then
as your protector, not as your headsman, type of thing. So that's how I took it. Like,
gotcha.
Yes, I am yours to protect, not to serve, type of deal.
That makes sense. Okay, I was like, what do you mean? You're basically saying like, yep, you're right, I'm yours, and then not doing it. But I think you're right. That makes total sense. Yep, cool.
And then she just goes rogue, pulls the dagger.
Yeah, this was in all the trailers. You had to see this, right? Like, this was in the trailers before, like,
what, Alicent pulling the dagger? I don't think I've ever seen that scene. I was completely shocked.
Oh, okay.
I've stayed away from, you're saying from like the original trailers?
Yeah, like, I feel like this was very early, like one of the first trailer we ever got, this was in it. Which is weird because this isn't in this part, it really isn't in the books. Like, Alicent doesn't storm her. Like,
yeah. The only thing I really remember of old Alicent from the trailers was, and I keep going back to it, Rhaenys going to her and be like, do you want to be queen? Yeah. I think it's Rhaenys, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And I don't know when that's going to come about.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, I'm assuming it's when Viserys dies, but
so she charges. She pulls the
I
dagger,
love that Rhaenyra just like
steps up,
stoves her,
Yeah.
Like, nope, not happening.
Kind of unbelievable how like everyone kind of pairs off. Like Harold Westerling, who's the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, he like grabs somebody. Daemon grabs Kristen. Like, everyone's got somebody, and they're just like letting the queen and the princess,
the queen in
like,
the air, just with a dagger.
Somebody would be separating these two immediately. They have like a whole conversation with like like while they're trying to attack each other.
Absolutely.
This would not be happening.
And when she like pulls away and cuts Rhaenyra, nobody really gives a shit. Like,
that's a serious cut. Like, you could die from a cut
right
on
her wrist.
Right,
right on her wrist.
Yeah.
Like, people do that on purpose.
So I think the scene's cool. That part's a little bit unbelievable, but what I was wondering was like,
I like that. I just like Rhaenyra that she like stood up for her kids.
Yeah,
like, I thought that, and Daemon then came to her aid, kind of.
Yeah, at the end of that scene, there's definitely like lines being drawn. There's like these people, like the Valerians,
and the Valerians stayed on
Rhaenys'
Rhaenyra's side.
Rhaenyra's side, yeah.
Cool.
What I was thinking though is like this dagger's special. We know it's got like the special glyph on it. We know blood is.
I didn't need to see it.
There was no glyphs there.
Okay.
But we know like blood,
right.
king's
Why
blood.
did they have to show it like glimmering in the light? Like it wasn't supposed to. Did it have to be that dagger?
Well, I'm wondering now it's got her blood on it. Like, is there something special about that? Like, what else is the importance of like? Is there something else important of her getting cut? Especially because then they do like they're doing like blood stuff later when they're getting married. Yeah. I don't know. That's the only thing I was thinking.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we haven't seen anything with blood like heightening a Valyrian sword or anything like that. But
yeah,
I'm just waiting to see how they hatch dragons. Really.
Again, I don't know if they're going to show it because at this point, I feel like the dragons are all like Jace had to hatch a dragon and they skipped over it.
Well, Joffrey's a baby right now.
Maybe we don't know his yet. Maybe Bela hatches it. I actually don't know if Bela. I guess hers. She's been trying to hatch hers, right? You can't do it.
I guess so. Yeah. And you would think that maybe that's what Damon's trying to read about, but someone should. Seems like somebody knows how to do it. Like, are they just getting lucky?
Yeah, they're just getting lucky. They don't know how. Next scene is Alicent and Otto. Cool scene.
Yeah.
She's like, I know I fucked up, and Otto's just like, I don't care.
Playing.
We're getting the dub now. This is like
you're my ace pitcher now. Get back out there. Throw another 9 innings.
Yeah.
Proud dad moment. You know what's funny is that actor is the fucking kicker from The Replacements, and he's had some pretty funny comedy roles. Like he's in Little Nicky. He's like one of the Devil brothers in Little Nicky, Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah. Yeah. You told me Viserys is the guy in Peaky Blinders, right? Viserys is like the priest in Peaky Blinders.
What priest?
Like the bad priest guy.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Maybe somebody else told me that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure
cool.
It's Viserys in Peaky Blinders.
I guess I'm trying to think of. Okay.
I think it's like season 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the scene with Otto and Alicent, I think is cool. He's just like, we got this. Like, I've never seen that you actually cared about this. Now that
and we have a dragon.
Yeah, me and you got Well, now they have 3 dragons, right? You kind of get that hint when they're taking off at the end.
Does the girl have a dragon?
She does. Yes.
Okay.
They didn't talk about it, but she does.
That wasn't implied. It wasn't mentioned or implied.
Yeah. I think her dragon is actually the dragon that Aemon sees when he goes down into the dragon pit in the last episode. Like the big one that's like, Rah!
Gotcha.
Can't be that big though, because like compared to Vhagar, they were tiny.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when they're showing, because when they show, Vhagar's one that Aemon has. But when they show like them leaving and she's like,
and that was the scene of Vhagar from the trailer leaving off that rock.
Yeah. And it's got Aemon on the back. It's just hilarious that like it had Aemon on the back. You just can't even see it because it's so big. Some of those shots of him like just like sleeping or like flying when they have like the huge like his wingspan, he looks like a bat. He's got like a bat wings. Yeah,
he's got cool wings for sure. It's almost like, are those wings big enough to make him fly?
Well, it's funny because when he lands, it's like his like chest smacks the ground, breaks something.
Yeah,
like, I think the showrunners talked about like how Vhagar like it's hard. Like he's not nimble. It's hard for him to land.
Fly. Yeah.
I think it's hard for him to take off too. Like,
he took off pretty easily
when cliff. Yeah, you're right. When he's
the first time he took off pretty easily. The second time he looked like he needed a little bit of a run off. But yeah, like Otto's like, all right, let's get it. Let's keep spinning this wool. And what happens next? Then we get Rhaenyra and Daemon.
Rhaenyra's getting stitched up. Laenor comes in. He's like, I'm done fucking around. I'm in now. I'm in this relationship. We're putting this speculation aside.
Yeah. Do you think she was already like, fuck it, like?
That's what I'm confused about. Like, I'm confused on if she knew like that he wasn't gonna die at the end here. You know what I mean? Like, did she think?
Do you think Carl just threw a curveball and was like, "Fuck it, I love this guy. I'm not gonna kill him."
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. It's like, well, no. So I don't think that's possible because isn't Daemon the one that kills? Like, apparently, like Daemon kills somebody randomly in like the hall.
So do you think that?
And I'm guessing that's the replacement body, right?
That's the body. Okay.
Also, this is just a Game of Thrones theme. Burn, like Dany says it in Dance of Dragons. Burn bones mean nothing. Maybe Dany doesn't say it. Somebody says it in the Dany chapter when people are bringing her burned goat bones and saying like, "Oh, your dragons did this." I think Jorah or somebody says like, "Yes, I believe that at first, but now it's been happening so often. How do you know people aren't just eating the goats, burning the bones, and bringing them in?"
Right.
And there's a phrase that says like, "Burn bones mean nothing." We get the whole Bran and Rickon thing in Clash of Kings, right? Where burned the Miller's boys, burn bodies.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's just a little curious. Like, all right, so Laenor's dead. nobody notices that they're missing somebody else. Like
exactly. Like I thought that was an important guy. Apparently,
whoever
not.
whoever the other guy was, like nobody. Like what if he was even like a handmaid or like nobody came to make my bed today, or like where's that guy at? And they're like, oh, where is that guy?
I guess maybe you could say like, oh, he left with the king's party or whatever. But yeah, it doesn't make sense. But like, you agree with me that Damon had to be in on it because he kills apparently the replacement body. Like Damon's the one that kills that guy in the hall.
I was curious of why he had to snap that guy's neck, and now it makes sense.
That's the only thing I can think.
That is the only thing that would make sense.
Yeah.
So Laenor's big line was, "We made this arrangement." She kind of like giggles like that, like it's almost like it's one of those moments where it feels like Rhaenyra's like looking back, like, wow, that was ages ago. I was like, it's almost another life when we made this arrangement that we would do our duty, but have fun.
Yeah. Back then, she still thought her and Kristen were going to be the ones knocking boots till he tried to get her to run away.
Right. And then he's basically like, I think there's times when we can't do both. And it kind of implies that he's like, fuck it. Like he wanted to do more of his duty, but now next scene, he's fake getting killed. So did that mean something else? Like is he just bailing from his duty for the happiness type of deal? Or was she like, hey, like, here's a way out. We're going to fake your death.
Maybe, again, like, it's kind of confusing. Like, here he seems like he's trying to do a 180. Like, I'm done, kind of like what you're saying. I'm done playing games. I'm committed now.
Right.
It kind of reminds me like you're saying, the love is the death of duty speech from Maester Aemon. You got to pick one. You got to have fun and do what you love, be with Carl, or you got to do your duty and help Rhaenyra cover up that these children are actually yours, or else they're in trouble, right? And he does care about those kids. So he's saying, you know what, I'm foregoing the actual love to do my duty. It's time. And then what? She turns around and is like, yeah, Damon, go kill this guy. Like,
no, I think there was a conversation, obviously, so you don't get spoiled at the end that he lives. She probably goes to him like, hey, I think I have a way out for you.
That's why I need to like watch this end part and listen to what the talking is happening while the intercuts are going on. But the last thing is Larry goes up to Allison on the boat and is like, hey, you want an eye gone? Last time you wanted something to happen, I made it happen. You want me to get an eye from Lucerys?
I can get you an eye. This is like The Godfather. She was like, nah, but there might be one day where I need a favor from you. It's also weird that Larys is at this funeral and not his family's funeral.
That's true.
If these are at the same time, and he chose to go to this one over his dad and brother. That didn't turn any heads. Like, why the fuck's this guy here?
And we know that at the same time because even Jay says that. He's like, why can't we be at Harrenhal with, like, at that funeral? Yeah.
How does it... Wait, I gotta say this one more time. Like, he fucking inherits Harrenhal, but doesn't go to their funeral. Like, that doesn't turn anybody's head. Like, wow, you just had them killed type of thing.
Raises some eyebrows.
Just able to put it on the curse of Harrenhal, but I digress.
So it looks like Rhaenyra saying, Damon says, you can only marry me if Laenor's dead. And she's saying, I will not be a tyrant and rule through fear. And he says, you have to, a king that if the king isn't feared, he is powerless. And that's as Damon is killing the body double. Yeah. If you want to be a strong queen, you have to cultivate love and respect, but your subjects must fear you.
This was my deal. She went to that conversation with Damon knowing that it wasn't going to work with her and Laenor, and she needed to be with him. Damon's like, all right, he needs to die. She pretty much says, like, I know he needs to die for us to get married.
She says, hold on. When they start fighting, she says, I do love Laenor. And he says, then do him this kindness and set him free. But again, at this point, we're meant to think that they're planning to kill him. Right. But they're actually talking about, like, let's actually set him free. Yeah. Gotcha. So yeah, it does kind of make sense with like a hidden conversation that happens in the end of the Rhaenyra Laenor thing, like you were saying. Yeah,
I also thought for a second that they were just going to do 3 heads of the dragon, and she was going to take two husbands. I thought she was just going to marry both of them and be like, "Fuck it, like us three, it's us three together. Let's do this thing." Yeah. But interesting. So then Damon, after he snaps this guy's neck, he goes to Carl, right, who's about to go fight. Yeah. About to go leave, right. And what's his line there? Something about gold in Essos.
Yeah, there's places in Essos where a man can have as much as he wants. It doesn't matter what his name is. All that matters is how much gold he has.
So
and he's like, do it in public.
Is that basically like Laenor, take all your gold and go start your new life because nobody gives a shit?
It's like like you're saying, go egg style, shave your head. Nobody, doesn't matter if you're a Valerian over there as long as you're rich, and you are rich.
So was it good enough for Carl to start the fight? The servant runs off to get the guards, and then by that time they do the quick switcheroo. Like this servant's already seen them start fighting.
Exactly. I think that's the idea. I guess it makes sense. It works out.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that there's no guards there, like, I don't know.
I guess what I wonder now, though, is like, especially now that I've told you that doesn't happen in the books, like Laenor's dead at this point. Like, so as far as I know, he can't show up again because it's not in the book.
There's no storyline with him.
Unless he shows up as somebody like an in disguise person. Like, there's a character that I know of that I never think of as Laenor that is Laenor.
Maybe. Yeah, I have no clue. I have no clue what's coming. I think it would be super weird for him to come back as Laenor, like, hey, wait, I'm actually alive.
Again, it just seems like one of these weird things that if they never mention, or like Laenor never shows up again, isn't it an unresolved? Maybe not. This one, I guess, is kind of wrapped up if you go back and listen to that monologue. But it feels kind of like the tea, right? We don't know if she drank the tea. We don't know how the fuck Kristen Cole didn't get arrested. Like, there's things that they kind of just like, they're cool endings, and then they just like, moving on. And I want a little more resolution there.
10 years later.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't really care. I don't really care about Laenor. I'm fine to see him go. I was always waiting for Team Daemon Rhaenyra, and now I got it. Yeah. So I'm kind of proud of myself for seeing through the forest and seeing that one. Yeah,
seeing the end game. So I guess we don't do this normally, but let's get into some predictions. What do you think happens with the next week? Because basically, I think the thing that we can assume is word is going to get out of this marriage. We don't watch the trailers, but that's what I'm guessing is going to be happening next week.
Yeah. So this is my guess. They go back to Dragonstone. Viserys finds out.
I think they're at Dragonstone. I think that's where the wedding happened. It was hard to tell, but I think based on some of the shots, it might have been. But yeah, either way.
Whatever. They're going to be at Dragonstone now doing their deals. Viserys, I don't think is going to be happy, one, because, I mean, if it really, like, Laenor died on a Monday, you married him on Tuesday. Like, where was your, like, grieving time? Like, you could have done this in a better way. Like, give it a month, grieve for your husband, and then be like, all right, I have this duty. Like, we both need a husband. Like, they probably could have done it in a better way that would have went over better.
That is weird. That is like an interesting point, because in the book, something that doesn't make sense is it does seem like both Daemon and Rhaenyra like Laena and Laenor. Mm-hmm. And then they both die in the same year. Laena and Laenor. I think last episode I told you, like, there's a few more things that happen all in the same year in this. And like half of them happen. Like Laena dies and then Laenor dies in the same year. So I knew this was going to be happening soon. But yeah, so like they both die, but in the books, like they both seem like they're in loving relationships. It doesn't make sense why the marriage happened so quickly.
Right.
Like, if you did love Laena and you did love Laenor, then why are you getting married? Here it makes sense, though, because Daemon doesn't seem too attached and Laenor isn't dead. So Rhaenyra isn't like grieving.
Yeah. Right. Well, Laena said last episode, too, that she knows that he loves Rhaenyra more than her. So, yeah. But Viserys going to be super pissed. I don't really know. Like, I don't see Viserys doing anything about it. Like, I don't know if he's going to die. Like, I've been waiting for this guy to die since, like, episode 2. I think someone's going to kill him. Like, he's already dying. Like, everybody sees him dying. Like, somebody just pull the plug on him. I think someone's going to poison him or something. I don't know. So, I'm going to stay with that prediction. Like, he hasn't died naturally yet. Like, someone's going to speed up this process. And I'm going to say it's Otto, which then I want to get on the Valerian side of it. I think Rhaenys is pissed at Rhaenys is going to believe full-heartedly that Rhaenyra killed Laenor.
Well, and why is Rhaenyra implicated at all? Theoretically, it's Carl.
Because she gets married the next day to her fucking uncle.
Yeah, okay.
It's like, you really had to get married that quickly type of deal? Yeah. Like, that's interesting that you got married this quickly after your husband just died. Like, why would you do that? Because you need your husband dead to marry. So I think she is going to not publicly join Green Team, but I think she's going to be behind the scenes green team, which kind of gets to my point of Rhaenys talking to Alicent, like, do you want to be queen?
Yeah.
And then I don't know what old man Corlys is going to do. I think he's going to stay true to Team Black. Maybe even split up the Valerian family a little bit.
You think you just got to hold on tight to those kids if you're like trying to, you know what I mean? Like if you're that ambitious guy and now you're both your actual children are dead, you got the grandkids
you have four
tickets.
grandkids.
Yeah.
2 of them you actually know are yours. Yeah. 2 of them you're pretending, but fine.
But the 2 we're pretending with are high ranking.
Gonna be the king.
Yeah, exactly.
So Jacaerys has a dragon. The one daughter has a dragon.
Yep.
Daemon and Rhaenyra have dragons, so that's 4.
Yep.
Sea Smoke is up in the air right now. Luke, does Luke have a dragon?
Wait, what are the 4? Daemon, Rhaenyra.
We've seen Jace.
Yes.
Does Luke?
Yes, but I don't know if they're riding their I don't know how big. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean the one wasn't big enough to ride yet, but I mean, we're gonna have another time jump soon. The picture I saw of Aemon looks like he's like 20.
Yeah, but it can't jump that much. Like I think we only have like two years more time to wiggle with.
Well, he looks like an old ass 15-year-old Dan.
Yeah, I know what picture you're talking about, but yeah.
And then he kind of looks like Bloodraven. Like that's what I imagine Bloodraven looking like.
It doesn't seem like they're going this route and it was cut. So again, there was books that were written, 2 novels that were written. George then used those to write Fire and Blood. Those are called The Rogue Prince and The Princess and the Queen, right? About Daemon and the Princess and the Queen, about Alicent and Rhaenyra. He then used those to write Fire and Blood, but some things were changed. In the original 2 books, this doesn't even show up in Fire and Blood, but in the original 2 books, there's like a maybe romance between Daemon and Alicent, where basically once Viserys is in this state where he's all super sickly, Daemon might be fucking Alicent. Again, that doesn't even show up in Fire and Blood. I think that's only in the originals. But in that one, there's a theory that Aemon might be Daemon's. And I think a lot of people say, wow, the casting makes it like, before the show started, they're like, that older Aemon looks like looks like Matt Smith. They're like, they're like 100%, but I don't think the show has showed that not at all. So if
there's
they
no
did that,
chance
it wouldn't make any sense.
When does Bloodraven come around? Another 100 years or so, like a complete different generation.
Yeah, he's not Bloodraven. Yeah.
I'm ready for these kids to just get after it, man.
We're gonna have 2 seasons of that, right? At least, maybe 3.
That's crazy.
Because the time's not jumping after this season. Like, kind of what we're saying. Like, I was hoping that the time jumps were done, but I forgot about these last grown-up actors for the kids. But yeah, I think like pretty much after this, like we can't time jump anymore. The war basically takes place over the course of 2 years.
So I'm curious,
which they're gonna do in 3 seasons, I think. So you can't have many time jumps.
So Viserys is gonna die. Rhaenyra should take over. Does she not? Does she set up headquarters at Dragonstone and not? The thing is,
she's at Dragonstone. She did that at the end of the last episode.
I'm saying, like, once Viserys dies and she becomes queen, she should come to the throne. Does like Alicent like lock down the city? Does she pull a Queen Cersei and be like, "Fuck no, like we're taking over" type deal?
It's whoever's got the chair.
It's whoever's sitting there, right?
Yeah.
Whoever gets there first. It's musical chairs.
Yeah, I mean you're right. That's kind of what happens in Game of Thrones, right? Like nobody cares if Renly or Stannis is king. If they don't have King's Landing, they're not.
At the end of the day, they're not there, right?
Kind of how it goes, at least, yeah.
The Daemon and Rhaenyra thing of it, I can't wait to see that bomb drop.
Yeah, again, I wonder how like people react because like I feel like a lot of people ship them, but it's also like their uncle niece, but that didn't really bother people. With
I mean,
Dany.
That's like Dany is like, ew, that's so gross. I'm like, yeah, but it's cool for the story. Like, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like the Targaryens live for this type of shit. Like, I can't wait for the bomb to drop.
Also, I will say the new actors and actresses, like for everybody, is doing good. Even last episode, I said I didn't really like Laenor. I rewatched the episode and it wasn't as bad on a second watch. Like, I didn't think he was as out of place. Maybe I just wasn't used to it. I think he is a contrast to the younger one.
The biggest thing for me was just them sounding a little bit differently.
Yeah,
like Rhaenyra's voice dropped octaves.
Yeah, but I think they're doing a really good job. Like I think all the new actors.
I think they're all really good. Even the kids. The kids are. Aemon, I thought, acted his ass off tonight.
Yeah, super good. Which sucks because we're not like that kid's probably gone
soon
in an episode or two, right? If we've seen pictures of an older one of him,
right?
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought he's actually kind of a cooler character than Aegon. I haven't seen much from Aegon yet. Aegon's just kind of being a slapdick.
Yeah. But yeah, like I thought I was gonna miss the younger actresses, and they were awesome. But like these new actresses are making me forget real easily.
I mean, one thing with like saying goodbye to them in like a quick fashion is you don't have time. You don't have time to say. It's like, all right, fuck it, like we got to go.
Yeah, rip it off.
We're moving on, baby. And Allison's about to stir this pot up. She's about to get Viserys really pissed off, or she's gonna kill him. I kind of hope she kills him.
I mean, I don't know.
You don't have to say anything. I hope she kills him.
I could see. I think Otto's kind of like maybe thinking like, are we gonna play like that kind of conversation he had with her is like, wait, how far are we willing to go here, Allison? I'm like I don't know if they're gonna go there or not.
They've already lit the green flame. They know they're at war. I think they kill him. I think if all right, so here's
I think she likes him though, but he did call her Emma. That's not good.
Yeah. I think if he doesn't, like, say he's, like, kind of pissed off about Daemon and Rhaenyra and then does nothing about it, she's going to be like, all right, fuck this. I'm killing him.
It's like, yes, he can piss you off and make you want to kill him, but, like, you got to wait to the right time. Like, if you kill him now, then Rhaenyra's queen. Like, you got to... Like, you got to get him to change his mind, and then, like, before he changes it back, then you kill him. You know what I mean? Like, you got to get him... You got to get yourself in a better spot, I feel like, if you want to do something like that.
They're not strong enough yet to take claim of the deal. Maybe.
Well, I mean, unless you just want to go, like you're saying, let's just go to war. If you're trying to play that game, then yeah, I guess you could just kill him, hold down the capital. But if you're trying to do politics, maybe get something in writing. But again, we know what that's worth with Cersei.
Yeah, who cares? Who cares about that?
Yeah.
All right, I don't have anything else.
Yeah, I mean, we've been going kind of long. I think I don't think I have anything for a spoiler section, so I think we're just gonna end it here. Wow. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys in the next one for episode 8.
Bye.